Growing up, I've noticed a trend with other families, or especially with my own family. Everyone does the bare minimum of what they should actually be doing, or at least what I think other families should be doing. The bare minimum, as in, they provide food, and that's it. Go do your homework. Go do something with your life, please. This is my job as a parent. But no, I think that in order to be a successful parent, you actually are supposed to give love, security, comfort, all of these things that I not only think that you should be given out, I think they are more important than instincts, than food, right? The instinctual love for food, the instinctual need for food. I think that there is an instinct for comfort. That is very big talk from you, Harry. But how are you going to prove all of these things that you were just saying? Okay, so it's 1959 right now. Let me do this experiment. It's a very creative experiment. I'm going to buy a monkey and I'm going to raise him in a very solitary type of place, cage actually. And I'm going to provide him with two different parents or two different objects for him to decide which one he actually values more. One object that was built in from wires. It just looks very ugly and odd. But hey, what does it do? It provides food. So hey, I can actually live from this. Let's go. And I'll build in this other object. This object is made of cloth. Cloth is, well, cloth is supposed to be comfortable, I think, right? So it's this other object is made of cloth, it's comfortable, it's pretty, and hmm, let me see which one the monkey would rather be with. So, as I've raised him, a couple of months pass by, he is used to now his routine of just drinking from this parent and sometimes hanging out with the cloth parent. And we already were confused because, hey, this monkey seems to actually love the cloth parent more than the wired parent. So I want to actually like test this theory out. Let me build this quote unquote diabolical creature with built-in claws and very sharp teeth that are just like meant to scare this monkey. Put this creature on the cage, in the cage with the monkey, and the monkey just gets frightened. He gets very scared. And what does he do? He goes to hug his which parent? The wild one, the one that actually kept him alive all this time, or the one that just gave security and comfort? He actually hugged the one that gave security and comfort, right? So that got me intrigued. I actually want to know more about this now. So let's do it again and again and again. What I realize now is that the this monkey was actually already spending lots and lots of time with the cloth parent. I would say 17 to 1 hours or something. And maybe the other time I would just be doing something else, right? So when we brought this little clawing creature again, this monkey, again, as expected, as we wrote earlier, he was very frightened. He went to hug his cloth parent, but here is the strange thing that happened. This monkey actually stopped trembling and he even started like threatening the other creature or the clawing monster. Yes. So what does that tell me? It tells me that babies, well, they probably favor the parent that actually gives them security and comfort, enough for them to actually even talk back to the very scary event or objects that is happening to them right now. Second stage of the experiment is where I prove my theory correct. I have this little new environment, this new box that is just incredibly unfamiliar to the monkey. He's been living his entire life in a cage, but now he's in a box, or in a room rather, that is square shaped, right? But anyways, so inside this square room, there were lots of other objects. Most of them actually made of cloth also. So we would imagine that, hey, maybe the monkey just loved cloth and that's where he found his security in. Well, when we let out the monkey, he started, well, did he explore? No, he did not explore. He wasn't even looking right and left. He immediately curled into a ball, hands in, self hug. Well, not really like this, but hey, he was scared. So we then brought back the cloth mother, the one that he was actually used to, as in looks also. Which was very interesting, right? Because, well, when we actually gave out this cloth mother, this monkey started running around. He started exploring the place, and that's where we made a breakthrough. So ever since the experiment, I was an unknown psychoanalysis psychologist. My name is John Bobley. 10 years right after the experiment, I have thought a whole lot about this. And I have come to the conclusion that in order for me to shape my personality and actually create real good close relationships in the very near future when I eventually do grow up, I must interact with my parents correctly when I am a child, when I'm a baby, right? So I have created this internal working model, or IWM for short, that says all infants are biologically driven to form attachments to their caregivers. Notice I didn't even say parents because the experiment didn't really show a parent, it just showed an object, and this baby thought that this object was his parent. So, one, babies don't actually know what a parent is. They just think that everyone and everything is just an object. Two, in order for me to explore the world, I must have a secure cloth parent. And all of this is apparently some sort of survival mechanism. So me, now I'm changing my personality for the third time. My name is Mary Ainsworth, and I am a student of John. And I think that, well, hey, what he says and what he thinks is very quite interesting, though I really want to prove something of Harry's experiment. So I'm going to do this experiment where it actually is called the strange situation. What we'll do is we are going to put a baby with his mother in a room, and at different times we are going to recall the mother, tell her to leave the room, and we'll see the baby's reaction. And my conclusion said that there are 4 attachment types of that babies actually try to act on. 1, we have secure. Secure is when I have this cloth mother that actually, well, is there for me. And maybe she rarely leaves me. Like the monkey experiment, when we brought the cloth object in the very unknown environment, that is the box room, the monkey started exploring the world. And that is exactly what secure is. When my parents are there, I can actually try to explore. Anxious resistant then. Anxious resistant said, hey, basically I just get angry when things like this happen. When my parents leave, I start getting angry, I start crying and all of that stuff. And when my parents do eventually come back, what do? I probably have difficulty just loving them again. If that makes sense. And then anxious avoidance says that whatever happens, I don't care. My parents leave me, my parents don't. Well, I need to fend for myself. Then lastly, probably the most interesting one by far, disorganized. Disorganized says that I often just freeze when things like that happen. When my parents do eventually do come back, when after they just left, right? I act like I'm going to approach them, but like at the same time, I just like walk past them also. This tells us that there are conflicting beliefs. So Bobby was amazed at the progress that he and Mary have achieved. So he began developing even more reasons and theories of the same, again, attachment theory. He says, well, what is happening right now of the attachment isn't actually something that is even closely related to the, let's say, hunger instinct, aka just physiological needs, right? He says that actually, well, us crying, us clinging, us being angry, or whatever we were just doing earlier with the kids, is a survival mechanism. And then he also says, well, hey, maybe attachment is just a goal corrected environment thing. For example, like me, I'm right now, I am comfortable in my room with my bed being, well, striped blue and white. If that color were to change, I would absolutely lose my stuff. I would lose my mind. I would start being angry. So I'll start crying. I'll start doing whatever, these things that are instinctual, right? Because of this very environmental cue that is behind me. So environmental cues lead to instinctual drives. But then we also said, well, hey, maybe it's just cognitive, right? I mean, the baby is getting even smarter right now. It might be because he doesn't even understand what's going on. So let's just go through these very fast. The phases of attachment development 0 to 2, I don't even differentiate between caregivers and strangers. 2 to 7, it actually starts to somewhat begin as I actually start recognizing my caregivers, but there's no attachment to be needed right now still. Because why I'm actually leading more into the cognitive reasoning. So we have then clear-cut attachment, which is 7 months and beyond. It says that clear-cut anxiety, I actually do have attachments right now. I cling to my parents and what we actually described earlier. And then all after that and beyond to 2 years in where goal corrected attachment finally happens, I become more independent. So as Harry Hollow's parents, what am I have supposed to have done to my Harry? Am I have supposed to just have caregiver sensitivity? As in, I'll be sitting right next to him 24/7. I'll give him whatever he wants. Well, hey, that will 100% most likely actually will develop a secure attachment, but in the very long run, the relationship might not be very strong. Well, of course, because he's just getting everything that he wants with no discipline. Where the other option, mind mindedness says I actually have to be just more rational with my Harry. I'm supposed to just respond appropriately to his needs and to the given situation. That will actually create a strong relationship and at the same time secure our secure attachments. So hey, you claim that in order for me to succeed in securing a good and satisfying relationship, I must interact well with my parents. So, how do I know what my attachment style is? Is it me or is it actually how I was brought up that I messed up all these relationships? Let us delve into the adult attachment interview. It is a semi-structured interview that says semi-structured, like paper-like question. Like let's say, what was your name? Okay, let's move on to the second. How old were you when you made your first friend? Let's say it's just like these childhood experiences. He said, let's say 4, I think. Yeah, 4. I can actually ask him another different question now because that's what semi-structured is, right? After that, after learning of your experiences, I can actually try to assess your attachment style. One more point that I forgot to mention is that attachment styles aren't really absolute. Like you could have or have had an avoidant anxious avoidance attachment style, or let's say resistant, let's say disorganized, or these insecure ones, these three insecure ones. Well, am I just doomed? Am I not meant for a satisfying relationship? Well, no. You can obviously change over time based on your experiences. Again,